Waikiki. This is where the chaos begins, where cars were all backed up. I had heard that people were jumping into the ocean over here to stay away from everything. Try to get away from the flames. Here and there that made it. Coming up on Waikiki Brewing and the outlets. Outlets are gone. Waikiki Brewing. Sorry for the dog. Tommy Bahamas.
He might have burned down in the fire.
Looking up toward the highway there. Continuing down Front Street. Maybe. And take a trip through here. So this would be movie theaters. Theaters are still there. Foodland, gone. Had to get back out to Front Street here. That was a huge puddle. Nasty water I didn't want to go through. Hop over the wall. Sorry for the noise. Don't have a mic or any of the stuff. Everything was packed up in the car to get out for the evacuation. So doing it old school here without trying to walk through the rubble here to get back out on the Front Street. Without taking a nail through the slipper. Okay. Back out on the Front Street. So this would have been Bubba Gump's right here, the trees that were inside Bubba Gump's. Up Front Street toward the north. Continuing on down. Nothing left. Fleetwoods. Unbelievable. Boats burned out in the harbor. All of historic Front Street gone.
up that way and go check my friend's house.
Okay. I'm gonna go all the way down the front street and come back. There's the library. Baldwin Park. The house behind is where my buddy Alfie lived. Gone. Sorry, I got turned around and went one street too early. I was looking through the camera too much. This would have been Captain Jack's. Down the hatch. Banyan tree is burnt to a crisp. Down toward the harbor here. Pioneer Inn, gone. The new pier, burnt. King Kamehameha School. Backside of the banyan tree. Behind a fish company. Cool cats. Kava bar. This is Prison Street here. One building left at the school. Prison Street Pizza, looking up toward the prison. All gone. Morning. Club, gone. The 505 is gone. 505 Front Street now, heading south. Everything from here to the highway just about is gone. A few houses here and there that may have made it. Lahaina Shores is standing. Looks relatively untouched. Maybe some cosmetic damage on the one side. The side of Lahaina Shores, a couple of these houses made it. Not on the other side of the street from them. So it looks like 419 Front Street is the last standing house on the beach side. Front Street, place Alfie used to live. Right out in front of Shark Pit. Gone. This one made it. 385, still standing. Call this the Battleship House. Concrete didn't burn. One more that made it. Looks like 271 Front Street. One of the condos in the corner looks like it made it. Went up on the end of Front Street where it comes back into the highway. Watching this guy mess his truck up trying to go through. Puamana. I just want to take a quick look in here. Looks like almost everything is gone in here. Condos. Like one building, a couple buildings in the way back, and one up in the front. Everything else in here looks to be pretty well burnt. Again, sorry for the wind noise and everything. Everything was packed in the car for when my wife had to evacuate, so all the technology stuff is kind of using all the old stuff. a long video, but I'll take it back down, head down like Y&A, in there between Front Street and the highway, and then hopefully head to the other end of Front Street. Heavy winds during the whole thing, so even the structures that are standing or and untouched by fire still have damage from roofs being blown off, trees being blown over, utility poles being dropped on them. Store. This was Shaw Street. There's the highway again. Everything on the other side of the highway looks kind of hit and miss. A few that made it down here. Well, the church gone. I kind of weave my way through some of the stuff coming up here. Dangerous, but this is the low voltage stuff in between the drops. 570 Y&A, Benet's. Made it. 587, 593, some wind damage. Here we are back at Prison Street. The prison's gone. Take a look inside real quick without crashing. Completely destroyed. Six 2-6. Condos. Seventh-day Adventist Church. Looks like it made it. YNA and Holly heading north. Ainanalu condos completely destroyed. Coming up on Dickinson. Church looks like it made it. Maui gym gone. 712 made it. Food trucks gone. Lahaina Luna. I'm not going to go up Lahaina Luna, but I'll go out to the highway real quick. And here it's not pretty up Lahaina Luna. Veterinarian was where we used to take the dogs. Gone. Shell station's gone. Maui County Federal Credit Union is actually there. One of the few. So looking up the hill. This is looking up Lahaina Luna. Looks like there's some stuff way up that made it. Again, you can see the roofing gone. The winds were, I don't even know how to describe them. I'm a firefighter in California. I stayed at the house. I had my wife leave. Somehow, miraculously, my house made it. Lots of my neighbors did not make it. As far as their houses go, everybody got out though. Coast Guard flying by. I do have the drone, but I'm not putting it up in the air because there's just too many helicopters that want to interfere. back down to Wainea, heading north, so paralleling Front Street. So this back here is Foodland. I gotta get a little video here. My neighbors own Nagasako, and they lost their house, and it looks like they lost the business as well. Nagasako General Store. Wow. Completely gone. This is a sports bar. Get through the nails. 808 grinds. Adjust this camera a little bit, it's shaking. Sorry for the wind and the lack of technology. Everything was packed up, the gimbal, everything was packed up and evacuated when my wife left. Foodland, looks like people been helping themselves to it. Looks like it didn't burn. Definitely been looted. Backside of McDonald's. Come back around and poke back out again. Find a new dentist. So this is we're back out. This is the factory outlets here. Outlets of Maui, all gone. These utilities here. Low voltage. Utility companies working hard. They've been clearing the intersections, just snipping the lines. Nothing's energized. Kaiser. So this is back on Wainea again, heading north. Trying to turn something on there. So Wainea heading north. Outlets. Kaiser. Barbecue. These made it. A couple didn't. One on the other side didn't. Other side of the street, other side of the highway where Maui Brewing is. Not Maui Brewing, the old Maui Brewing, Kohala Brewery, Sherwin-Williams, the business park. We'll pop over there. Slide Mongoose, I heard all that stuff's gone. Few buildings standing, lots of roof damage from the winds. Homa Village, back to that. Looks to be untouched. Newer construction, makes sense. Some of the apartments, condos made it across the street here. See if we can get through. So they have everybody going up that's the bypass down there. There's a lot of traffic up the bypass. This part's closed. Bell Pizza Hut. Napa Auto Parts. Looks like it made it. Ish. Windows are broken out. Laundromat. Gone. Ooh. Get down here just to get a shot of this. Slide mongoose is gone. Moped shop is gone. So this is cutting back toward, trying to get around here. Maybe aluminum and melted aluminum, broken glass. So coming up here, I have to hop over. We're coming up on and where the sugarcane train food truck parking is. Oh. Trying to get there. Wow. Squeeze through one more time. Kohala Brewing, gone. Kraken Coffee made it. Shaya Fusion Cuisine made it. Swagoo, looks like it's gone. Linda's, looks like it's there. Get out of here and make my way back down to Front Street. I hear lots of fire alarms still going off. So while I'm going through this stuff, I'll just talk a little bit. So like I said, I'm a firefighter in California. I decided to stay with my house. My wife evacuated with all the valuables and the neighbors. I stayed there. Giant construction zone behind the house with huge open dirt field that my back of my property butts up to. So I had a way of a nice safety zone to get to if I needed it. So I was comfortable staying there. Somehow, miraculously, my house at 1270 Nahale Street made it. Several of my neighbors' houses didn't. The water was completely out, no water, so there was nothing I could do. I had fire hose hooked up to the hydrant, but there was no water. Pump stations were down. Fire department couldn't do anything either. They had no water. Everybody was just trying to evacuate and get people out as best they could. Some of the stories I'm hearing from people, there's definitely places you don't want to go because I'm trying to show the destruction part, not the death part. As best I can with that. So again, back to Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, back out to the 30, the highway here. Gonna head north just a little bit and cut across. Get back over on the Front Street. So I can show you essentially Front Street from one end to the other. That's looking down to the bypass, and on the left side would be the cannery. Bob and weave around here. Okay. So Kanui coming down one side, you got Kahoma Village, new construction that made it. Other side, all the apartments and condos are gone. Behind a preschool, so it made it somehow. Everything around it's gone. Kahoma Village. Starting to make it in. On the turbo boost here. We're back to where Mala ramp takes off. I won't go down there. All that stuff made it. Trees blowing over from the high winds. Looking back up toward the stream on the other side of the bypass is Ho'onanea. When I drove out that night and circled around the backside of my house, several of the buildings were on fire. So continuing down Front Street, this is the backside of the cannery. That's being remodeled. Honu made it. Mala made it. Duckine made it. And then the district just behind here. was curious about this one. Behind the roads, it looks like there's actually some damage to some of the upper stories there. I see some windows broken out. Everything gone down here. The bed and breakfast that was right up here, gone. 1421 Front Street. So we're coming up to the north end of Front Street where it runs back into the highway. That's coming up. Everything's gone down this side. So north of the cannery, on the ocean side of the highway, just about everything's gone. Steakhouse gone. Have to work a little bit. Battery died. Somehow I didn't charge last night. I went for a down to the beach to take a bath last night. Went down to Baby Beach to get some of the soot and gross everything off of me from being up for 30 hours trying to save the house. And took a little ride and just kept going farther and farther because I couldn't believe what was going on. I hadn't seen anything. Cell service is almost nothing. It comes and goes once in a while. So no news. I was at the house, so I had no idea the extent of the damage. I had no idea that it had gone all the way down Front Street. And I had no idea that I was fortunate to be one of the few people that still have a home in Lahaina standing. Not by anything I did, just got lucky, very fortunate. Sorry, I'm dying because my battery died. So here I am at Fleming in Ainakea. Lots of the houses gone up to Hawaiian Homestead down that way. Kind of hit and miss in this neighborhood until you get right down here, which is the backside where I live. Where I took video of it, so I back up to the Cane Road on the back side up there on the far east side off Nahali Place, and I saw the fire wrap around the construction zone through the grass, come around the construction zone where it ends about 5 houses past mine, and there was a car parked on the mountainside of the road. And that wind came tumbling down the hill like a fire tornado. I would say easily 70-mile-an-hour winds that caught that car on fire. That car went up quick. It made huge flames that then bent across the roadway and caught the fence and the vegetation on fire over here. And then it caught that house on fire. And that's where I assumed that my house was going to be gone, because I'd been watching the fire. With the high winds coming up the hill, it would do a strip top of the mountain, go all the way down to toward the beach, Well, up at the top, the radiant heat would catch the next house on fire, and then another strip would just come down the hill all the way, and it was just marching toward my house. And I figured there was no way it was gonna make it. And so I decided to leave at the last minute when 3 of my neighbors' houses were on fire, and my next door neighbor's ohana was on fire. Figured his ohana was gonna catch his house on, which was then gonna catch mine on. I left, came in the backside into the construction zone where I was saying it's safe, wide open dirt, nothing can burn. And thought, well, I'm gonna go back to my house, and if there's something I can do, if an ember starts, I had a couple buckets of water, because again, the water was off. I figured I could try to put those out. One of my neighbor's house started catching on fire. I threw some half buckets of water on it for a little bit, and then the wind changed, and my water wasn't doing anything. So, getting back to a longer video than I thought. So you can see right up there, the brown roofed house, that's mine. My neighbor next to it is standing, and right behind him, his ohana burned because of all these houses and that car that I'm talking about. You can see the construction was right up here, and I don't have an address. Everything just burnt. But that's where it started coming down, and they would just do a whole row of houses all the way down to the highway. Radiant heat would catch on, next one, and I just kept seeing strips of homes going, going, going. Here we go. Let's see if I can. Nope. Trying to find an address to see exactly where I'm at here. There's where we are in Ainakea. So looking up there, I can see my house and my neighbor's house. Everyone past them are gone. So again, I have no idea, just the way the winds come down the hill and the way things were going, how my house made it. Very fortunate. There's no water, there's no power, obviously. I do have solar with Tesla batteries, so I do have power. No water though. I'm flushing toilets with the hot tub water, neighbor's hot tub water. So I'll show you from up above, but there's the last house on my street that made it. This little pocket right here. So Ainakea, down to Punakea, and the Shell station. Shell station made it. Sorry for the bouncy video, my battery's dead and I'm having to pedal now. Poor me. Almost there. Don't stop. So it looks like all of South Nahale, back to the backside of Foodland Farms, Gateway Shopping Centers, all there. I'm headed down the Holly Place. Is the last one standing on that side. My neighbor's houses that I had to watch burn. Uncle Jay's house gone. $12.76, my neighbor's house. The ohana that caught on fire. Luckily there was some space between that and the main house. I had my sawzall ready. I was going to cut this down if it caught on fire from the radiant heat from this, but it didn't. Again, helicopters are in the air, so I'm not going to fly the drone. I don't want to interfere in any way.